So all right, so hey, there you are. I wanted to come on because you really inspired me the other day when you were talking about your dad being, getting older and still having to work and how he was trying to share that with your kids, kind of like trying to like almost indoctrinating them without even realizing it. And how you wanted financial freedom for your kids. And so I thought about it. I was like, man, this message needs to be out because you're taking a step to create a business, get financial freedom, but so many people are still tied to paychecks, still tied to the 9 to 5 mentality. And
Right.
what you reminded me of is like the worst part is, all right, you might really end up passing this on to your kids. Like,
Right.
like if you don't do something about this now, your children are probably going to inherit that same mindset, and then
Exactly.
they'll want to work for money. You know what I'm saying? And so that'll make it a tough life. So I'm not going to keep you long today. Just wanted to follow up on some of the things that we were talking about the other day. And
Mhm.
so your industry is going to be the moving industry, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the
Okay,
moving
so
industry.
you're going to be doing, yeah. And so where are you located again?
And Chicago, in the south suburbs of Chicago.
Okay, gotcha. So what were you able to find? Like, have you been able to find out any information about the industry there?
Yeah, I've been calling around. I actually spoke at length to a couple of the movers, like in their business, and found out
Okay.
like kind of like the conversation, like how it goes, because I kind of like wanted to get the flow of things. And
Yeah.
like one even went, like into like telling me like his background, like the reason why he started moving was
Mm,
because he was kind of like getting frustrated and like I guess angered about like the way um the industry was going, or like I guess the ones that he viewed in his community. I wasn't sure where he was, but he
yeah.
was saying like that's the reason why he started, because like he didn't like the way people were going about doing it. I guess he felt like people were being cheated or what, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
So
Like
so he was just
like
like,
he could do a lot better.
yeah,
And
so that's why
and
he started.
that's going to be perfect for you because now that's an ISP who cares about what they do,
Yeah,
and they care about the customer so much so that they were like, you know what, bump this. I'm going to go do my own, like start my own business. And now when you build a connection with an ISP like that, now because I know you're doing your research now, I teach that in the course. Like that's something you do early on, do the research for the market, whichever city you want to do it.
right.
But also at the same time, that's probably going to be a really good ISP for you because that person cares about the business, cares about the customer. So right away, I know that hey, this person's not going to go out and just do any type of job. They're going to go out and perform at a high level, and they need customers, right?
Exactly.
And so that's going to be great to you. So that's why I'm a big encourager of hey, look, do a little work. It's not going to be hard. Just pick up the phone, call around,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so I'm excited to hear that from you that you've been taking those steps,
Yes,
and
and
because you're so
actually,
close. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and actually, I know, we're supposed to like focus on one, but I was just like curious about something because I watched one of your videos, that you
hmm
were talking about, like, I don't know, I guess it was a couple of months ago that you did that video, but I was watching it on YouTube, and you were talking, I guess you found like a business card like for one of your friends that was a cleaning, and I was just like, not that I'm venturing into cleaning, but I was kind of like just a
yeah,
little bit curious, like let me just check this out a little bit, and like you were, like you found the card, and I guess it was like Juanita's cleaning, something like that, and then
yeah,
like you were like judging like the like you were kind of like well, I shouldn't say judging, but like just critiquing, I should say,
yeah,
the business,
yeah,
and you were like, well, she shouldn't first have her name because she shouldn't be related, with her, tie her name, and like things like that. The business email should have been there, this, that. But anyway, I was like, okay, well, let me just see, So I kind of like called a business, but they weren't around, so I just quickly like hung up. And then he called back, and he was like,
okay,
he was like, oh yeah, like you call this, clean. I guess it was like some first business first cleaning something, and then we just started talking and everything, and he said that he's actually a um a teacher. Yeah, he's like a special ed teacher, and he
Wow.
actually went to school for he actually got a business a degree, I guess. What degree? A bachelor's in business and
Yeah.
a business degree or whatever, and the case may be. And then I checked out his website and everything, and it was like he had the pricing on like a lot of the things that you were saying that you shouldn't have. Like he had
Yeah.
like I was schooling him, and I didn't have
What? You were teaching him? Come on. You just got out
and
of
he was like, oh, I gotta tell my assistant to remove that. Oh, I gotta tell my like. I was like, oh my god,
Oh my gosh.
I'm
Wait a
telling you,
minute. So you were consulting him.
I was consulting him, and he had a whole degree in business. You know, I'm telling you, I was like,
I love it.
you might need to take a
I
course
love it.
that I took.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Look, that guy went to school to learn
A
marketing,
whole
but
degree, a whole freaking
come
degree.
on,
He has a whole degree, and I was
all the
like,
years,
I was
all
like,
the debt.
I was like, you don't have a business email? Like, I was like,
No, no. That's why I say you cannot learn this stuff in school. They're not going to teach
right,
you this. They're going to teach you basic stuff. I've had business. I've
right,
I've learned the business the hard way. I know because when I first started out, that's so funny that you were consulting him. And what's even better is that he was listening and making changes
I'll tell you some more.
according to
I will tell you some more. He was on Thumbtack.
you.
And then he was crying to me about how like they're like messing with him and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, you're on Thumbtack, and that's one of the things that you like. One of the first things that you mentioned, like all this like what do you call what word did you call it? These like
I,
these
I call them predatory lead
Rex,
companies.
that was the word that you used, right? And he was like, man, like he paid a whole $30 to get a client that finally called him. And after they called him, they were like, oh no, no, I don't need it. And he's like, he still had to pay $30 for that person. And he was like, oh my
Oh,
God, like, and I was like, oh my God, like
oh,
I had chills in my like on my I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy.
oh my gosh.
Like he was doing like everything wrong, and I'm like, you have a whole business degree. Like I was like ashamed for him. Like I was like, wow, like this is you know I gave him the link to the website. I was like, there's a Middleman CEO course. Maybe you might need to take it. Like, here's a link. I had to do it. I'm sorry because he was suffering
Yeah.
so bad. Like
Oh my gosh.
I called like, and we just like, and like he was like hanging on the conversation with me. Like, he didn't want me to go, like because he wanted me. I was like, I was playing around. Like I was just playing around on Google. Like, let me just see and everything. And he was like, oh my God, like it was. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Oh my gosh.
This is crazy. Like,
Wow.
so
Wait a
I'm
minute.
just saying, like, just off point, but
Oh
I'm
my
just
gosh.
saying, yeah,
But that shows you that the stuff that I'm teaching in the course is real. It's
it's
legit, and I've
true.
done it. Yeah,
Oh my
it's
God,
true. If
verified.
he posts when he posts his information on the website, he's missing customers number one because the customers already see the pricing. So there's no
Thank
need
you.
to contact him
Yes.
right
you know
now. And
but
then when he
but he
gets a
doesn't
bad
understand that.
lead,
He didn't understand that. But
yeah,
when I was explaining to him, like, well, like, do you have like a 2 hour minimum, this that, like I was just saying, like, maybe we can kind of like crew together or whatever, like you have a 2 hour minimum. And he was like, no, I just have like a flat fee for this, that, and everything, like maybe if I want a bathroom clean,
mm,
or if I blah 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 and
yeah,
everything. And he was just like, and I was like, well, but he was listening. I could tell he was listening because like and taking notes, because he was like, maybe I might consider that like more hour to hour thing, because I mean make more money, because I mean, what if like he
yes.
was he was like, like taking notes, like maybe she's making sense. And he was
Oh
like that he
my
will reach back
gosh,
out to me, and
yeah,
then send me so that he might switch some things around, and then he'll probably
yeah,
call the consultant to remove the prices and stuff like that. I was like,
yeah.
okay, like.
Yeah, think of that. I
Mhm.
can see you in the future having your own successful middleman businesses, also consulting people and saying, "Hey, you're going to work with me. I'm going to partner with you, but let me teach you some things about your business to help us both."
Yes,
Right? Let me
yes,
share some things about your business that can help you, or companies that's in different markets where you
right.
don't middleman and compete with them, and you're like, hey, let me teach you some things because that person needs customers.
Mhm.
That person's calling you back because they couldn't answer their phone the first time,
Right.
which means that they are missing phone calls.
And let me tell you something. He had like the reason why I hung up real quick, but because I was like, this person is like completely out of whack. He had a text free number. I'm like, are you so poor that
Come on.
like text free? Like my kids before I got them like because they all have mobile phones now. Like we have like a
Yeah.
family plan that I pay for, and like
Yeah.
before we did that, like they were all doing like text free. So I'm like, this is what teenagers use, and you had it for a whole business.
Yes.
And so when I called, and then like it got to the voicemail, it was like, oh, this text free client is not available. I was like, what?
Uh-oh.
I was like,
Oh man.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, he was so hungry, like he was holding on to
Yeah.
like puppets. I was like, oh, I gotta go, like right. I'm sorry.
Oh my
I don't
God.
want to sound
This
that
is
way, but
hilarious.
I
Yeah.
was like, you're broke as hell, and you have a whole business. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what is this? Like,
But what is
you can't leave
that?
a
That's
voicemail.
why the middleman business is so important, because
Yes,
I keep saying, all these guys and girls are out here doing great work. The
right,
problem is they're not good at getting customers.
at
And
all.
so think about this. That person spent $30. This is a
Yes,
small business.
right,
$30 on a lead that went nowhere,
nowhere.
and he was minus 30 on that. Now, what if he partners with you
Right,
and you're going to say, hey, listen, don't worry about the per.
mhm,
Whenever I send you a customer, it's booked.
right,
You don't have to guess. You don't have to
right,
call them back. You don't have to speculate. It is your customer.
right.
I've
And
already
the thing
been paid. Everything you make is for you.
is free. But the thing that he was telling me, like, because we were actually on the phone, he kept me on the phone for a freaking hour. For an hour. I'm telling you, I kid you not.
Oh my God. You
I'm
should you
telling you,
should
like
have
he
billed
was
him for
hanging
a
on
consult.
because I was trying to like go. I was like, because I could tell he was so hungry and so like
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
because he's a teacher too, and you know how they don't pay him nothing, like
Yeah.
and so it was like,
Yeah.
oh my God. And he was like, I have some friends that like they have a vending machine business. Like I'm looking at maybe I could start or whatever and everything. But he's like, with my cleaning business, like I'm actually looking to maybe see if I could get like recurring income, or something like
Come on.
recurring customers. So I was asking, like, I say, I'm gonna ask you about that. Like, okay, like if you help him book a client, like a lock lead or whatever, and they want a recurring client, is that like a one-time thing that you get your deposit and then like, once they get the number or whatever, and then that's on them? Or can you keep like fishing up for that one? Like
Yeah.
how do you? I was just kind of like thinking like, what do you do with that? Like,
Yeah.
or is
If
that
it, if
that's
it becomes reoccurring, that's a great question. So, a lot of industries are not reoccurring, but the cleaning industry is one that is. Uh, so whenever it's reoccurring, what you do is you'll be able through like your Stripe or your PayPal to set up
mm-hmm,
reoccurring monthly payments or weekly payments. So
mm-hmm,
whenever the customer decides, hey, the customer will tell you, hey, every month, oh, at this time, this day, I want to do it. So
mm-hmm,
you can go ahead and pre-set up the payments to come out. So whatever your deposit is, let's say, for instance, you take $100 deposit, then you can set up that deposit for today. You can set it up for a month from now. You can schedule the payments to come out. As soon as you find out they want it to be reoccurring, schedule the payments to come out as long as they want to do it. And then it comes out to you automatically. The ISP, if they go out and do a great job, you continue to let that ISP be the one to go to that house.
oh,
So
so like, oh, so but the payments though, okay, I'm just trying to like get an understanding,
yeah,
like a better
because
understanding.
all right, so I'm the customer. I reach out to you and I say, hey, I want to work with your cleaning service, and I want to do monthly, because you're going to ask me, hey, how often do you want this? And you're going to learn everything you need to ask by doing your research and your homework on the industry, which I
Right,
teach in the class. And then so it's just like what you're doing now in the moving
right,
industry. And
mm-hmm,
so I'm gonna say, hey, I want you to do once a month, come in and do the cleaning. And then you're going to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead, set it up where it automatically withdraws every month at this day when you do the cleaning. And then that money's going to come to me every time. The remaining balance goes to the ISP every time. So you're going to send your team out, or whatever ISP. You've already gotten your deduction through the card. Remember, it's online now. So you have their card on file. So you don't
okay.
have to call this customer. They don't have to call you. It's already scheduled.
Oh, so they're not paying because I was thinking like we get the deposit and then the balance is paid to the ISPs or whatever
Correct.
by the
That's what it is.
client.
Correct.
So
So
we're not handling their money, because that was my question. I'm a little confused about that. So
yeah, you're
are we
you're
getting the
only
full
getting the
money and
deposit.
huh?
No, you don't want to be in charge of distributing all the money. So
So
the ISP gets their money. You only take the deposit. That's the only thing you're responsible for. So if the deposit is $100, you take $100. Next month, you take another 100, and on and on and on. The ISP gets the balance because the customer has the agreement form from you that explains at the end of the job the balance is due to the ISP
Okay, so
so they can pay it on
they
site.
pay. Okay, they pay. Okay,
Correct. And then they'll pull out their card machine or their invoice machine and take the payment right there.
okay.
And so they're done. The only thing comes to you each month is a deposit, and you schedule it. So if the customer says, hey, on the first of each month, I want to get a cleaning, then the process is going to be, okay, let me put it in, because the merchant platforms like the one I use, Stripe, I can put your card on file and bill it every month.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
So
Mhm.
every time I go out to clean your house, I don't have to contact you. You don't have to contact me. It's automatically deducted from your card. So my money's going to be in the account. The ISP has the assignment. Hey, this is your assignment every month on this day to be there. They're going to continue to go and collect the payment. You're going to take deposits up front.
Okay.
So under no circumstance do you want to take the ISP's money, because now
Mhm.
you're responsible for distributing that, and you pretty much put yourself in the job. You never want to do that.
Mhm.
You you only want to take your fee and go away,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
If you think about
Yeah.
the stock market, money managers take everybody's money into a group called a fund, right?
Yes.
Like a 401k fund.
Mhm.
And the money managers, the so-called money managers, they take their fees out.
Mhm.
Now, the rest of the money goes into the stock market and tries to buy whatever they think is going to make money. But
Mhm.
whether it makes money or not doesn't matter. Your money, the money manager's fee is already there, right? So you take your money up front. You don't wait. So you'll take your deposit each month when that job is due. So if the job is the first of each month, when the first rolls around, it's going to automatically deduct the deposit, put it in your account. Whatever's left, that goes to the ISP. They take their payment after the job is done. You don't process their payments.
Mhm.
So you want to stay away from handling their money. You want them to get paid whenever they finish the job. And that's the right thing. We don't want to take their money. Now we're payroll. Now we got to pay them.
Right.
And we
Yeah.
don't want to do that. So I built my business to 350,000 this year
Mhm.
by from 77,000 to
Yeah.
350
Yeah.
by not taking, I don't touch anybody else's money. And I
Mhm.
learned that the hard way. And that's why I'm so big on that. Hey, don't process that. If when you pick the right companies, they're going to be able to take their own payments. They know what to do.
Right.
When these guys wrap up, they'll say, hey, such and such is due. We'll go ahead and swipe your card right here. Customer's going to say, zip, zip, out, done.
Mhm.
And you're done. And so that's how you want to keep it. So whether you go into the moving industry or you go into the cleaning industry, both the work, you just have to decide which one you want to get into first. There's no reason you can't do both, but I just recommend don't do both at one time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Learn one.
Yeah.
So if you jump into cleaning right now, spend 3 to 6 months learning that, and then you're going to be like, hey, look, I can do this in my sleep.
You
All
know,
right,
I
what's the
want to do
next industry?
moving. I was just curious.
You
That's
want
all.
to do moving? Okay.
Yeah, I want to do moving. I was just curious about the cleaning
Yeah.
because I saw that video. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, let me just check out and just see. And I didn't even know
Yeah.
it would like lead to like
But
that.
that's going to be an option for you. But
Yeah.
one thing I love, and this is hilarious. I'm going to share with the other students that ended up consulting
I, I,
somebody else on their
I'm
business,
telling you.
somebody with a 4-year degree, and they were listening to everything, kept you on the phone for an hour. At
For an
least take me to
hour.
lunch if you're going to keep me on the phone for an hour.
I'm telling you.
So
I'm telling you, it's crazy. It was crazy
that's
because I wasn't
amazing.
expecting that. Like when he called, but like you
Yeah.
called so I'm like, oh yeah, I called, but like I'm like, yeah, I did call. Like you guys, offer cleaning service, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he was like, then then he said yes, and then we just kept talking and talking
Yeah.
and
What
yeah,
was he very professional? Did he seem like a very professional, somebody who cared
yeah,
about their
he's
work?
a professional. He's a
Yeah.
school teacher too, and everything. But he was
Okay,
just
there you
saying
go.
like his problem though was actually getting like real like because he doesn't really well once in a while he does it himself, but a lot of times he'll like send people that he knows or he employs or whatever like
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
and everything. And he was like saying like sometimes they don't do it as diligently as he would like because he
Yeah.
offers like deep
Yeah.
cleaning and standard cleaning, and then like if you want like your refrigerator, like this or that, like he has all these like different listings or different things that they do, whatever. So I was like,
Yeah.
well, let me check out your website, and he had the pricing and everything, and I was explaining to him that like that he was like talking about how like these companies are charging so much, and he's like it's really frustrating to because they don't care about the small business person. Like
Yeah.
he's like they're not actually
Yeah.
here for us. I'm like and I felt bad for him. I'm like, well, that actually is true. And then he was talking about how the client called, and they didn't even spend like 2 minutes on the phone with him. They were like, no, yeah, we don't want it. And he was thinking to himself like, I spent a whole $30 and they're gonna take that money, regardless of the fact on thumbtack or whatever, regardless of the fact that the client didn't even uh, um say yes to me, and he was
Yeah.
like, that's like it's a loss, and this is like it's not right, and da da da.
Very
And
sad.
yeah, and it's really sad. And I
Yeah.
was like, I mean, I felt bad. That's actually why, like, I felt sorry for him. That's actually why I stayed on the phone, like, and I was just like saying, like, okay, well,
Yeah.
let me see your website. And I was checking out his
Yeah.
website and everything. He had all the prices listed. And I'm like, well, you do know that if ABC Cleaners is like on the next website and they click it on and they see like, okay, you're saying 210 and the other ones are saying 200, they'll pick the 200 as opposed to you. Why don't you just leave your number? Let them call you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
because that way you can tell them whatever you want. Because like I told you, I have a braiding business too. And
Yeah.
like, I used to do that. I used to make that mistake. I had like a booking this, box braces, one this, that, and
Yeah.
everything. And then like, but it was like, but when I talk to the people and everything, I can tell them anything. I can switch it from 180 to 240. I can say, well, you
Yeah.
know what, I'm adding little
Yes.
curls or whatever. But if it's
Yeah.
set and standard, it is what it is. So it's like, I'm like, you're
Yeah.
kind of like, dipping yourself. And I'm like, do you have like an hourly thing, like, or a minute, a 2 hour minimum? I learned that from you,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
was like, no, we just have it like a basic this, if they need that or this, that, and everything. I'm like, well, and he was like, it depends on like our overhead. Like some people are bringing their supplies and some people aren't. Like I guess that's how it works or whatever. And some
Yeah.
people can charge cheaper and everything. But he was like, he's not happy with the quality of clients that he's getting because they complain about the pricing of every little thing. And I'm like, well, if you're, I mean, like, where are you sending your ads or whatever to? Because if your marketing to like poor people, like they don't have nothing, or like maybe the
Right.
neighborhood, I don't know where you're how you're doing it,
Right.
then they're gonna be scrapping every coin. Like it's not gonna work,
Right.
And he was like, I'm like, well, maybe we can like work together, whatever, and everything, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I think
yeah.
I
So
think you got a good lead on who could be your first potential ISP when you do decide to get into the cleaning industry,
right,
because that person cares about their business, cares about the customer, and they need customers. So the fact that he
yes,
didn't answer the phone the first time means he's busy. He needs someone to answer that phone. The
yes,
fact that he doesn't know how to market and promote his business and you do,
yes,
you just schooled him on how to. Just telling him take his prices down changes everything for him.
yes, yes.
And the fact that he was hanging on to you for an hour just to get more out of
A
you,
whole
and
freaking
this is just,
hour.
come
Yes.
on, 4 year degree, and you just took a 8 hour 6 to 8 hour masterclass and learned more than he did,
You know what?
is
It
amazing.
gives it gives me chills because I told you I have like three high schoolers. Okay, my
Mm-hmm.
oldest is gonna be a senior and everything, and it's like
Okay.
they're gonna get all these degrees and stuff, and I'm like, so someone that just took a course, can outwit you. That like it's scary to me because I'm like, so what is the
Yeah.
system teaching? And then you have like $170,000 loan, and then this
Yeah.
person got like took a course that like how like why is the system
Correct.
like it just like I felt sorry for him, but at the same time I felt sorry for myself because I have kids too.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
it's crazy because it's like wow,
Yeah.
like
Just think of that. And you're right to
yes,
bring that up because they're not learning. You learn by doing, and there's not much doing. First of all, a lot of the professors that are in school are just academic professors. They
that's
never
all.
really have owned a business.
They don't know
They
nothing.
they
They
don't know
don't know
anything. They've owned a job. They've never owned a business.
at all.
And so you can sit there and say, "Hey, I got a couple things for you. Number one, you need to have processes in place so whenever your workers go out to the job, they can do the same thing you do. They can have follow the checklist and complete the job the same way you do. Secondly, if you leave your prices up, customers are going to make a buying decision without you. They're never going to talk to you. They're never going to call you and never hear about how wonderful you are, how much you love your business, how much you love helping customers, right? And so now you can come in and I'm just seeing this all in my mind just coming together. You can come in when you're ready, create your cleaning service, and all of a sudden you've got an ISP who loves what they do and want to make it work. Now it's safe to send this guy out. He's going to go out, perform at a high level, do great for your clients, get great reviews for you. And in exchange for that, you're going to continue to send him A+ clients because he's paying $30 for a client that doesn't want his services. Now, just think about it. So if you're asking 100, 150 for a deposit for a client that is booked, not a client you got to call and negotiate with. This client is on the schedule. They've already committed to us by paying a deposit. If they don't pay a deposit, they're not our clients. But when they put money down, they're our clients. And so your clients are paying a deposit to you. And then you're sending them one of the best ISPs like this guy who cares. And he's going to go out and perform and do a great job. You're going to get reviews. And your company's going to do even better. Now more calls are going to start coming to you. You're going to start flooding him with, just say, for instance, you take only $100 deposits. If you book just 5 jobs a week for this guy, just 5, and that's not even a lot. That's not even trying. You're making $2,000 a month off of one company. One company. And you know he can handle 1 job a day, and he's going to do a great job. And this guy's bringing you $500 per week, $2,000 a month. Now you go out and you find 4 other companies on that level, and you will, because these companies are out there hurting. The reason I know is because these predatory lead companies are making billions, ripping companies off.
They're squeezing the life out of people. It's bad.
Small business won't survive them. That's why I call them predatory.
Yeah.
They are predators. Yeah. And I hate those companies. That's why I teach in the masterclass, hey, don't worry about that. If you go do that, they're going to rob you. So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to teach you organic ways to bring in customers. You don't have to pay $30 a lead. If I'm small business and I pay $30 for a lead and the customer just pretty much hung up on me, I'm hurting. I'm second guessing whether I even want to do this or not. I can't even afford to call another customer.
That's why he's talking about, like, you know, like he knows a friend talking about, he knows a friend that has vending machines that, you know, he's thinking about maybe investing like a cheap one, maybe from eBay or something, just a cheap one, and put in something and then seeing how it goes. And he's, you know, doing this and doing that. And I was like,
and that's a lot. Now he's second guessing. Because he's right to, because the way it's going for him or the way he's doing it is incorrect. He needs someone like you, like another middleman company to come in, bridge the gap and say, wait, let me take all this pressure off you. Here's what I'm going to do. You sound like somebody who love what you do and love and care about the customer and the image of your business. Here's what I'm going to do. Let's work on your prices. What do you charge? Bam, bam, bam. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get that price for you. You could always negotiate down if you have to, but I'm going to get that price for you, right? But I'm going to take a deposit, but you'll still get that. So let's say he says, I want to make $100 per hour. Okay, fine. Then I'm going to say, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to promise you the first 2 hours. I can't guarantee you anything after that, but I'm going to promise you that you'll get at least $100 an hour for 2-hour minimum. So now you owe that guy $200. You don't, but the customer will. Now that means I'm going to contact the customer and try to book the job for $347 for 2 hours, which means I got a $147 deposit because that guy is only committed to working for $100 an hour. He only requires $200. I charge $350. The $150 is going to me. Worst case scenario, customer balks at that and says, can you do a little less? Hey, look, are you a new customer? Yeah. Okay, awesome. Got a new customer special I can apply. How about the same services for only $300 or $297? I always keep it below that number. Instead of $500, I'll say $498. Just keep it always a little below. So they don't look, so the first number is a lower number so the 4 is lower than the 5. So it sounds better.
And so, is it seller psychology?
Yeah, it's just sales psychology. And because if I tell you 300, you're going to think about 300. And if I tell you 350, you're going to think 400. You're going to round it up. We've been trained that way to round up in school. Uh,
Yes, yes.
but if I come in and I say, hey, because if most people are going to say, this guy's going to say, hey, I'll do 2 hours for $350,
Mm-hmm.
right? And and the customer might balk at that because they're thinking 350 might as well be 400, and because you said dollars, they're thinking about money. And so I would train you to come in and say, hey, we'll do it for 2 hours, only 290, only 297, which is the same as 300, but because I gave you the two first, it doesn't sound like three.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just sales psychology. I'm still getting the 300, but I'm getting it at 297. And I didn't say dollars like he did. I said only 297. I don't say dollars. I don't teach you guys to say dollars because I don't want the customer thinking about money,
Mm. Right,
right?
right.
So if you say dollars, the customer's going to think about their wallet. If the customer says, well, how long is this job going to last? And you say, well, I estimate it's going to last 4 hours. The customer's going to stop listening to you and start doing math in their heads. They're going to be like, you're still going to be talking. The customer's going to be like, one, two, three. They're going to do the math and be like, wait, so 400?
Mm-hmm.
See, they don't like that. That's why I always tell them, don't say dollars. Always put only in front of the amounts, right? And round it down, and so you can get it correctly, because you don't want your customers doing math. They're gonna say no because they're gonna do all this math in their head. And that's why I teach you guys, don't give time estimates either. Just say, hey, on the day of, we're gonna do a walkthrough to give you the most accurate estimate we can. By that time, your crew's already on the site, and the
Oh,
job
okay.
is good to go.
Okay. But you've
So
already locked in
I'm
the deposit though. You've
correct.
already locked in the
Correct.
deposit.
Right. But
Okay.
we don't want the customers doing math, and that's all in sales. In fact, I got this awesome sales. Remember I said, for everybody who's VIP like you and everyone else, you guys are going to get a lifetime access to every training I put up. And it's not going to cost you guys anything. And
Oh,
so
we
I'm working
appreciate
on a
that. Thank you.
specific, yeah, I'm working on see, I know this works because
Mm.
I went from 77,000 and I was thinking, man, this might have some legs, to
Mm-hmm.
$350,000, wife at home, working from a home office. We're we're looking at homes right now and meeting with home builders to build our dream home.
Right.
They say it's going to take anywhere from 12 to 16 months to put it together, but that wouldn't be possible if I was working a 9 to 5.
No, it wouldn't be. And
No.
it's like you're see the thing about having a 9 to 5, it's not just that the of the work, because I don't know if I told, well, I didn't tell you this. I became a registered nurse in 2011. So I became a
Okay.
nurse, like working as a nurse, and I was so frustrated. All my kids were young, they were babies. And I was so
Mm.
super frustrated. I was so stressed out. And I was so like, I would come back home, and I hate to say this now, but I would be like, last night, like, don't touch me. Like, just like, I would be just
Oh
so,
man. Yeah.
I knew that I had to quit because it was like, and it was, like my parents, like, being in healthcare, or there's money in it, there's this and that,
Yeah.
but I went in there, and it was like, this is not it. Like, is this, everybody on the floor smokes. Everybody,
Oh
oh, I gotta get
man.
a smoke break.
Yeah.
The
Stressed
doctors, the
out.
nurses, everybody's running for a smoke. Every 50
Yeah.
smoke break. I'm like, if I stay here longer than I need to, I'm gonna be smoking too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's running for
Oh my gosh.
I kid you not.
Everybody's stressed out. Yeah.
I kid you not. Everybody's running for a smoke break, like every 15 minutes. I was like, oh my God, this is
You
not it.
you just
So
couldn't see that for yourself. You just like, I can't end up like
no,
this.
I'm like, I'm gonna be a terrible person. I'm gonna be a smoker. I was seeing my
Yeah.
future. I was like,
Yeah.
because this is not it. So I quit. Of course, my parents were disappointed. Oh, blah blah blah. I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? I have a degree. I can
Yeah.
paste it on your wall if you want to see it. So I'm a black sheep. I'm a rebel. Like, if you see my
Yeah.
dad, like I told you, he's still working. He's 81. I'm a rebel.
Come on. Yeah.
I know they talk about me even at home, like, that girl. I don't know. I don't know, but it is
Yeah.
what it is. Okay. I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? This is my life. Daddy, I'm sorry, I love you, but this is my life, and I got to live my life.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it is what
Wow.
it is.
Yeah. That
So
that's
yeah.
a huge step, because a lot of people feel the pressure to
Mm-hmm.
do what everybody in their circles telling them. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have to be that rebel. You have to be
Yes.
that black sheep like you and
Yes.
say, look, that worked for you,
Mm-hmm.
Or, hey, dad, no disrespect, you did a great job, I love you, you're my dad, but I don't want to work till I'm 81.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
And
Love you,
I
but I
don't
can't
want
do
that.
it.
I want freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I want freedom now, where I can run down the street with my kids. I can hang out with them. And I'm the same way. I got young kids, and I'm like, man, there's nothing more important than spending time with my family. And if I could get some free time, I'm doing it.
I'm telling you, like, okay, so my husband and I separated about a year ago. Okay, the marriage was
Mm-hmm.
not going good. Everything was sour. We were married for just like on the offside. We were married for like close to like what 19 going on 20 years and everything.
Yeah.
Towards the end, it just got like bad and everything. So like now basically I have like basically full custody and everything. But anyway, to make that just to cut that off, so it was like, and I was saying to myself like recently, like, man, like I mean, what if I was working like my nursing job and everything, and I have all these kids now and more responsibility and everything? At first, it felt like I had like a whole load on my shoulder. I was so freaking stressed out and everything.
Yeah.
But like, as time went on and I kind of got used to it, I was like, okay, I'm cool now or whatever and everything. I mean, he's still definitely like interacts with the kids or whatever and everything, but it's not like before. We had to separate because things were not going well. But you know,
Right.
up point. So going back to what I was saying. So I was saying to myself, and he was one of the ones that when we first met, he was one of the ones that ganged up with my dad to pressurize me into nursing. I wanted to, you know what? I'm more like a sassy girl. I love
Yeah.
makeup. I love like hair. I love,
Yeah.
and they were like, oh, that's for unserious people. That was for unserious people and everything. And so it's like, because my dad is all in education, this, that, and
Yeah.
everything. But it's like, I prefer to like live life, do business, have my free time. That's my soul.
Yes.
So me going into
Yes.
nursing, yes, I passed. Yes, I was able to pass my
Yeah.
NCLEX or whatever and everything, but it was not me. And I found
Yeah.
out quickly enough
Wow.
that it was not me. So I'm just glad that like,
Yeah.
like
You're
that I found
finding your
this.
purpose. You're
Yeah.
finding where your passion and your purpose lie. When they come together,
Yes.
that's where life gets really really good. Because a
Yes.
lot of us, we go out and we love the people, and we know they love us and they mean best for us,
Mm-hmm.
right? And but they think that what they did applies to us, or what made
Yes.
them successful applies to
Mm-hmm.
us, and we're living in an entirely different age. We're,
Mm-hmm.
we're we're living in an entirely different age, and I teach this to people, and I get a lot of pushback, where I might teach them things. I might say, hey, don't go and park all your money in a savings account. That's dead money. It's
Yeah.
okay to have some in savings, but if you're sitting on a boat of cash, that's wasted.
Yeah.
Why not use the money to create cash flow, to bring in money like a middleman business does? It creates cash flow. If you work 1 hour a day, and if you make three, four, 500 a day, that is a win. It's not going to make you a millionaire. That's fine. You don't have to be a millionaire to be free. You just
Exactly.
want to have your time back. If you can make $10,000 a month, you are not a millionaire. But if you can do that without leaving your house, or
Mm-hmm.
having to go to a job where they smoke on every floor,
Everybody's
and
smoking. Oh, I gotta get a smoke break. I gotta get a smoke break. I'm like, what?
oh my
This
gosh.
is a madhouse. I'm like, what are you telling the patients about,
Yeah.
protecting their lungs and everything? And y'all are smokers. Like, what is going on
Yeah.
here? I was like, if I stay here, I'm gonna be joining y'all. We all gonna be in the back smoking and coming back,
Yeah.
because I'm like, this is
Yeah.
ridiculous. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
this stress.
That's the
I'm
stress.
sorry.
Yeah. Of a nine
You
to
know,
five, and then coming home and not having that relationship at home that you want
Oh,
to have, because you're
oh my
so
God.
burned out.
It was
It
bad
takes
with the
so much
husband.
out of
It was
you.
bad with the kids. It was bad with
Yeah.
everything. And I blame my husband because I felt like I'm like, you're just using me because you want a nurse. He's like, because I
Yeah.
was always wanted a nurse. Go be a nurse. If you want a nurse,
Yeah.
go freaking be a nurse. Don't put that shit on me. I'm sorry, but it was like
Yeah.
I was like it
Go
was not
go do
working.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I started going my own path and everything, he started like having resentment towards me, like like well, I was always wanting a nurse. I'm like, you know what, the school is open. So it got
Yeah.
bad. It just got bad. It
Yeah.
was like and I sort of.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Go,
so I'm
go
trying to go
do
my
it.
own way,
Yeah.
and you're dragging me this way. I'm like, this marriage is not working. We need to go
Yeah.
our own ways
Yeah.
because we're gonna kill each other. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously,
Yeah.
we're gonna kill each
Just
other. It's not gonna,
spiritually,
it's not working.
just draining each other's
I mean,
energy.
it
And
just,
sometimes
it's
you
like,
got to take a step back and say,
oh,
look, we're going to crash and burn. So
yes,
before we do that, or before I let you do that to me,
go, bye, go,
exactly.
go.
And
Getting
I'm
that serious.
so
Yes.
happy to have you in the master class because
Yes.
I'm just thinking like I didn't even mean to teach you how to consult, but now you're learning how to consult other companies just
Yes.
by taking the course and then creating companies that's going to be vibrant, that's going to make money for you, give
Yes.
you freedom, and the most important part, because I have kids, your kids are high schoolers. You can teach this to your kids. They can work
Yes.
with you. You can sit them
Yes.
down and say, "Hey, let me show you how to middleman anything."
Yes.
Anything that's a service. If somebody needs help with something, you can find customers for that business.
Mhm.
And that's the freedom that I'm trying to present to everybody because it works for me. It changed my life.
Mhm.
And again, I'm so happy to have you in the class.
I'm so
Let
happy
me
to have
ask you
you
this
too.
really quickly, if you before I let you go, because I know it's Friday, I know you got things to do, but, and I appreciate you jumping on.
No
What
problem.
made you? Because I ask this a lot because I always want to know, but what made you decide that, hey, you know what? I'm hearing what you're saying, brother. I'm liking what you're saying. I'm going to commit to this. I'm going to give this course a shot. Like what made you say yes?
Desperation, desperation, desperation
Mm-hmm.
in the terms of um first of all, my kids, because
Yeah.
that's big for
Wow.
me. First of all, my
Yeah.
kids.
Wow.
My daughter was actually supposed to graduate this year, but because she was having like, she was supposed to take summer school last year and then finish basically like graduate as a junior. Like, so I actually like this
Wow.
summer she was supposed to graduate, but she was having like she was having like issues with her stomach or whatever. So she had to like basically cancel summer school. So now she has to have another whole year, but just to like, so I was thinking to myself, like, wow, like my kids don't have any options. I thought my
Oh my
dad came
gosh.
by,
Wow.
talk about like best jobs in America, whatever, and everything. So it's like,
Yeah.
this is like, and I always knew, like I told you, like how my life was, like I always wanted another path. So when I was watching your YouTube videos and I was hearing, I was like, this must be like the wise King Solomon of this generation. Like I'm like this
Wow.
no,
Yeah.
I'm telling you the truth. I'm like, this guy is, I don't know. You might have a calling to be a pastor. I don't know. You might have a calling because I was like,
I've heard that a few times.
I'm telling you because I have the spirit of God.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
like this
wow.
guy.
Yeah.
I'm like this guy is called. I'm like everything that you were seeing. I've never heard
Yeah.
anybody say it the way you say it. Like,
Wow. Yeah.
and I was like, maybe I manifested this guy. Like, this is. I jumped on. So this is not. It might have desperation, but I just
Yeah.
felt it in my spirit. Because the Bible said that those that are led by the Spirit of God are children of God, and I believe I'm a child of
Yes.
God. And I'm like, you know what?
Yes.
Um, like this is it. I have this is my chance. This is my chance to break out of this mess, this
Wow.
cloud, that I'm in.
Yeah.
I told you I broke out with my husband like a year ago, and it's just a lot with my dad. They're still trying to like put in their clutches and everything. I'm like
Yeah.
I need somebody. So I saw you almost like I don't want to make you feel a certain way, almost like a savior, like this is gonna
Wow.
save me. If this can save me,
Yeah.
it can save my
Yeah.
children, that I can give them
Yeah.
options, that they
Wow.
don't have to just like be stuck the way I was stuck when I was doing
Yeah.
my nursing job. Like, I felt
Wow.
sometimes even
Man.
suicidal. Like I
Yeah.
felt like I'm trapped.
Yeah.
My marriage is hell. I go to
Yeah.
work, it's hell. Like so to me, I saw it as a way out. So it's the whole
Wow.
picture,
Yeah.
and everything. So
Yeah.
I just thank God
Wow.
for you also following the
Yeah.
call of God, because I know it's not easy for you as well. People
Yeah.
are gonna be, like speaking through their demons because they're so stuck in the
Yeah.
whatever and everything. But don't forget
Yeah.
that this is a call.
Yeah.
This is a
Wow.
call. If you go to
Wow.
Isaiah 61 in the Bible, the Bible said that the Spirit of the Lord has anointed me to speak the good news to the poor, right? And what is the good news
Wow.
to the poor?
Yeah.
That you don't have to be poor anymore. So this is the
That's
calling,
right.
right? This
Yeah.
is the calling of
Wow.
God. So I really felt
Wow.
that, like, what? I
Man.
have to join this thing no
Yeah.
matter what. Even though I have to
Wow.
speak my account
Yeah.
to buy whatever I can do, I need to do this thing because this is, I'm telling you, I believe in it, and I believe in what your message,
Wow.
I
Yeah.
totally believe in it. So that's
That's
what it
amazing.
is.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's the
Wow.
whole
Yeah.
picture.
Wow. That blessed me just hearing that, hearing you say
Yes.
that. And I received that. And I'm so thankful that I learned this so that,
Yes.
somebody gave me the idea one day and it's like, hey, start sharing it on YouTube. And I was like, all right, I'll just get on and do a couple of videos and see if I can change the way somebody
No,
thinks.
not a couple. A couple is too, no. You gotta stay on. Even if, because
Yeah.
I'm telling you, even
Wow.
when it feels like the devil wants to tell, like, oh, because the devil will send people to like send you bad comments, and you're like, you know what, I'm tired of this, I give up. But that's a
Yeah.
lie. That's
Yeah.
a lie, because they want to
Yeah.
derail you from where you're supposed to be. So you have to stay on, like,
Yeah.
you know what, I'm doing the call of God. It's not until you're talking about Jesus Christ that you're doing the call of God. When you're telling people, taking people
Yeah.
from poverty, when you're pulling
Yeah.
people out of, because
Come
think
on.
about poverty
Come on.
and
Yeah.
finances. Finances is the reason why a lot of people divorce. So
Yeah.
money is
Yes.
very, very important.
Very
I
important.
don't care what nobody
Yeah.
says. It's very important.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
when you're telling people that you don't have to be stuck, trading time for money, when you don't have to be stuck doing this, you can. There is another way. I
That's
mean,
right.
I can't think of any other way
That's
that
right.
you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
That
it's a big deal.
you hit the nail on the head.
Yes,
Money matters. We don't like to talk about it because a lot of us grew up without it.
yes,
But money matters. We've got
yes,
kids, we've got families, and there's nothing. That's why I always say, hey, I'm not teaching you to be rich, but if you get rich, that's awesome. I want you to be free, but money's going to determine that. It's going to determine who your kids' friends are 20 years from now.
yes, yes.
It's going to determine where you live, how you get taken care of when you get older, what type of health insurance you can have. Can you live close to hospitals?
Hmm.
Can you live in good areas? Can you choose your house? Live in a house that you love to come home to. Money matters. And I always use the example. I say, hey, listen, money matters so much that even the homeless person who doesn't have any bills is on that corner asking for money
Mhm.
because it's still needed. It's a necessity, whether we think about it that way or not. And here I am. I don't know. I'm thinking like John the Baptist now. Here I am, calling just a voice in the wilderness,
In wilderness,
saying,
right?
"Hey, you don't have to be poor.
Mhm.
You don't. There's no rule. There's no law. You don't have to. No, you didn't pick where you were born. That's fine. But you got a chance now to do something different. And if you have kids, you must do something different and open the
Exactly.
door to let them see the light."
Exactly. And to me, I felt like, because you always talk about time, that like we don't have
Yeah,
time, we don't have time. And I was saying
don't
to
have to.
myself, and I realized, I'm like, I don't have time. My kids are almost, out of the house, basically. My youngest is 14, gonna be 15. My second, so my kids, we had them in steps, like, because we wanted to just get it
Yeah,
in and get it over with, because I
yeah.
don't want no babies at this freaking time. I can't do it. I
Like
don't have
me.
the mental
Yeah,
capacity. I don't have the
yeah,
strength. I would
yeah,
die. I know myself. So I'm like,
yeah.
let's have this kids. If we don't have this kids at this time, I'm not doing it again. I'm done. So we just had them. It was stressful, but that was my husband and I,
Yeah,
our plan at the time. That's it.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
done. So I can rest. My back can rest. My body, my womb can rest. So that was it.
yeah,
So that was our plan. So anyway, so they're
yeah,
all back to back. Freshman,
yeah,
sophomore, and junior. So, but they're almost gone. So I'm like, you know what? This is the
yeah.
time now. Because I
Yes,
love
right.
them, I care about them, and that's why I had them. So it's like,
Yeah,
this is the time. This is, this message resonates to my brain, to my spirit.
yes,
And let me take a shot. Let me just do it. Let me just see. And I'm learning so much.
yeah, yeah,
Now I'm consulting people that have a freaking degree in
yeah.
business. So
Wow.
it's, yeah. So there's a lot.
Think of that.
And yeah. So be
Oh
encouraged,
my
because you're
gosh.
doing the right thing.
That
You're
yeah.
definitely doing the right thing.
Just to
You
hear
know.
you say that you're consulting someone who has a degree, that one sentence has so much power and impact. It's so profound
Right.
because you are able today to show up. You didn't commit those 4 years to that. This guy did. He's probably got a bunch of debt because that's the way the system is. Hopefully
Yes.
not.
Yes.
And then they turn this guy over from school. He goes out, try to do the right thing, try to start a business, and he's struggling to get customers. Companies are taking advantage of him, and
Yes.
then you show up on a random phone call,
Random phone
and
calls.
he calls back, and
Mhm.
you change his life
I'm
in one
telling you,
hour.
he was taking
Wow.
notes. He was taking notes. He was saying, you know what? I'm gonna tell my assistant to remove those prices. I'm gonna tell. I was like, okay. I was like, okay, that's
Think
good.
of that.
Like,
Come on. So I see that in your future that you're probably gonna have a YouTube channel where you're doing consulting and you're talking about how beautiful your business is, which would bless my heart because I want everybody who's in the masterclass to do amazing. That's why I keep saying, hey, we're gonna add more stuff as we go. You'll get it for a lifetime. I want you to do as well as you can, and then I want you to convert others,
right.
turn them into middleman people, turn them into
Absolutely.
professionals. And
Right.
that's going to be a blessing to do. Look, I'm gonna give you some homework, and then we're
Okay.
gonna get back together. But
Okay.
so I want you to focus on the industry that you want to do. So make one decision.
Yeah. It's
I
moving.
love the
It's
word
moving.
decide.
It's
Yeah,
moving.
to cut off the others. Now
Okay.
you can have them as businesses you'll come back to in 6 months or a year,
Yeah.
right? So if you're going into moving, I want you to focus hard on moving. I
Yeah.
want you to find out what the average price is for a two-man crew. I want you to find out what the average price is for a 3-man crew,
Average.
right? And then 2-man crew, 3-man crew. I want you to find out what their minimums are. Some companies going to have 2, some are going to have 3.
Hours, you mean?
Yeah, minimum hours. I prefer you to sell to your customer 2-hour minimums.
Okay.
And because that's all you're going to need anyway. So I prefer you to sell 2-hour minimums.
Okay. Now,
Now,
is
when you,
this for like local move, like maybe
yes,
like
if
moving
that's
to
where you're
storage?
doing it. Yeah, because
Like,
Chicago's a big city. I tell people you can do it anywhere, but that depends on a couple things. The reason I'm in Dallas and I have a cleaning service in Florida is because I connected with an ISP who's in Florida,
okay.
which made it easy for me to start in Florida with that. But if you can start in your area, if you're in a really nice city like Chicago that's got a bunch of business, you can go, a bunch of customers, you can go. If you're in a small town, or like one of my students on a Caribbean island who's just in a tourist town, you're going to have to find another city where there's a bunch of business. So a bunch of customers, a bunch of ISPs so that you can be the middleman. Because if you're in the middle of nowhere, you need to start looking at a different city. You don't have to go there, just set up your business there. But you're in Chicago. So my advice is to reach out to some ISPs that need customers, right? Find out what their numbers are. Then go back after you get about 5 quotes. You want to get a phone quote. So you want them to call you and talk to you over the phone. And the reason this is important because you want to hear how they talk to customers,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to hear their quote process, and then you want to say, hey, any other fees or things like that, so you can understand the questions you need to put into your script.
Now I have a question. Because I have done that a couple of times, and everything with the phone quote,
Mm-hmm.
but like there's some that have like flat rates. Like I've spoken to some like, okay, because based on what you told me, that just tell them that you're moving from like an like a 2-bedroom apartment, whatever,
Yeah.
to a storage. I told him that and stuff. I've had one that actually told me like, because he asked me like, do you have a moving date? I said no. Then he's like, well, then I can't give you a quote. Then I'm like, that's fine. So I got off the phone with that one.
Yeah.
Then I called another one that I found online. And
Terrible. Yeah.
huh? Oh, is that a bad thing that they did?
That's terrible. Yeah,
Oh,
that's terrible for him to say that he couldn't give you a quote,
yeah, he didn't.
because he could be called you back. You're a follow-up customer, that because you're going to get customers who's going to, and that's a great point. I'm glad you said that. You're going to get customers who don't have a moving date. And that's fine. A lot of times you might get customers who don't have a date because they're still looking for a place to stay,
Mm-hmm.
or they're getting a quote for somebody else and they don't know when they're moving. They're just trying to get some
Yeah.
numbers. And
It was
that's a
like
great point because
he was mad at me, like, how
yeah,
dare you call me and waste my time? And
yeah,
because the first thing he asked me when I called him, he I called, like, blah blah blah. He was like, this is blah 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 moving company A to Z or whatever moving company. I'm like, hi, actually I'm calling to get a quote of, regarding a move that in the near future. And he's like, do you have a date? I'm like, not yet, but I just want to kind of like get a quote to kind of like to see,
yeah.
to put things together, whatever. And he's like, we can't give you, anything until you give me a date. And I'm like, I don't have a date yet. And he's like, we can't give you a quote. So I just hung up,
Wow.
whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that.
And that person loses. And that's probably not a good person well, I don't know, you'd have to check the reviews and stuff, but you definitely don't want them dealing with customers, because you're going to get that too. You guys that do the middleman, you're going to get customers sometimes that doesn't have all the details. And that's okay. There's a couple ways you can go about doing that. So you can quote them anyway and say, hey, here's the best thing we could do. This is what we normally do. Of course, we'd have to get a little more details from you to give you the most accurate quote. That means the quote I'm giving you could be changed, right?
Okay.
So, hey, we got you. Here's the quote that's normal for about your size, but it could possibly change in the future if anything happens on your end. So what we'll do is we'll reach out to you in about 24 to 48 hours, and we'll just do a follow-up. He could have done that and still potentially had you as a customer.
But he
So
didn't. He didn't.
no, he's not professional at all. So you want to do follow up. So see, you'll learn as you call around. You'll learn, hey,
Yes.
this is somebody I will work with. Nope, attitude, not working with attitudes.
Mhm.
That's going to be a problem in the
Yeah.
future,
Yeah.
and you'll probably see that under his reviews.
Yeah.
And but
Okay.
if
Okay.
you get 10 really good solid Because think about it, in Chicago, there's going to be 1,000 moving companies. All you need is 10 of them to be really good and partner with you, right? So we know it's very competitive in Chicago. So we know they're fighting over customers. Here
Yes.
you come, wave your magic wand, and voila, a customer. Wait, this is a lead? No, no, no. This is a customer who is already confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is show up. Wait, I don't have to talk to this customer, book this customer, go back and forth. No, 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 no. You just have to be here at this day. These
Right.
guys are going to eat that up.
Right.
They're going to be fight. I promise you, you and I are going to have a conversation one day, and you're going to say, Sean, listen, these ISPs are texting me all throughout the day, all throughout the night, saying, hey, the next thing come through, don't call anybody, send it directly to me,
Right.
right?
Right. So
Because they're going to be that hungry.
right. So I have a quick question regarding
Sure.
the script. So like for a part of it, it says one of the best things that our customers love most about us is that we do not have add-ons, which I guess they don't like. And it says,
Correct.
and no minimum hours, which saves you time and money. So should they
Right.
not have the
That
2 hour
that's
minimum? So that's my
yeah.
question.
That's our script. That's why I said for you doing the ISP, you can switch that and get rid of that because it's better for you to do minimums so
Yes.
that you can take your
Okay.
deposit. So
Okay.
don't. That's why I said I'll send you our scripts, but you customize them to fit your business. So
Okay.
we'll
Okay.
just send you that as a template. But
Okay.
you
Okay.
want to have the minimum so you can get
Yeah.
paid.
Okay. So I
So
was confused
you don't
about
have
that.
to
Okay.
say
So that's
that
good.
part. Yeah.
Okay. So
But
that's good.
you
That's good.
can say the no fees. And the reason you can say that is customers call around if you have fees. So if customers reach out to you and you start talking about a bunch of additional charges, they're going to hang up and call around.
Okay.
Now, the way I teach you to compensate or to work against that or to let that work in your favor is sure, let all these other companies say they have fees. So here's how it could work. A customer calls one of the movers you call, and the customer says, because you and the mover are all competing to get the customer to call you. So
Mm-hmm.
you can take a deposit so they can get a booking. So the customer calls them first, one of your ISPs, before they
Okay.
call you. And
Okay.
that customer says, hey, want to get a quote? And your ISP says, yeah, I got this. We're this per hour, but we got this fee. We got a truck fee, a cleaning fee, blah, blah, blah. And the customer's going to be like, okay, thanks for the quote. I'll call back if I'm interested. Hang up. Then the customer's got to call somebody else, and that call might be you. Now the
Mm-hmm.
customer's on the phone with you, and you're going to say, "Yeah, we do it full service." The customer's going to say, "Hey, do y'all have fees? We have no fees. That's one of the best things about us. We don't have additional charges." Now the customer wants to listen to you. Now the difference is if that ISP has fees and you don't, and you're booking for him or her, how do you get that done? That's where you come in and say, all right, so he's got all these fees, but between he and I, he's willing to quote the customer a bunch of fees, but he and I have an agreement that he'll only work for 100 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to talk about any add-on fees. Under our agreement, they're willing to do $100 an hour. So all I have to do is make sure the customer pays this mover $200 minimum for 2 hours. And
Okay.
then anything above that goes into my pocket. So if the customer shows up or if you book the customer and you say, hey, yeah, first 2 hours is going to be 350.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, do you guys have fees? We have no fees.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now you got 350 the customer's willing to pay you. The
Mm-hmm.
mover or the ISP only wants 200.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 150 that you can take. Now I have a guy in Atlanta that does 250. He's doing even better for moving jobs.
Hmm.
And he texted me the other day. He was like, hey, got my first deposit. I was like, awesome. What did you get? I'm thinking he's going to say like $100, which is still a win for a 5 minute
Mhm.
phone call.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, my first deposit was 250. I was like, wait, did you say 250? I'm texting him back. I'm like, 250 or was that a
Wow.
typo? He was like,
That's
no,
huge.
250. I said, man, let's get on the phone. Let's get on a call.
Right. But
Jumped on a
how
call
long
and he was correct.
but
Uh-huh.
how long can you okay, that's one of the other questions that I had. Okay, so when you get a deposit, but you know what, prior to getting the deposit, and you're talking to the client, do you have this? Do you have this
Yeah.
bedrooms? What is the address, blah blah blah, and everything. And then you're going down the list, TVs, and then the cruise, and then you get to the point whereby you're like, you know what? and then you talk about like the scarcity, like say, you know what, we've been booked out or whatever, so we might not have a thing for you. That's like one of the
Correct.
things that you say. And then you get to the point where you say, but you know what, now let's check our schedule. Now, if you don't have like maybe like Booking Koala, or whatever, and you don't have like a calendar to look at, how the heck do you know where do you know to say 9 a.m.? Because I was like, I gotta ask him because I don't.
Oh, oh my God, you are taking me back to day one. When this is now you're talking about manual, which I've done for 3 years. Remember, I just hired my VA in January.
Okay.
So I've been doing this for 3 years on my own. And so that made me laugh because now I'm thinking back to, oh my God, when I first started, what a mess I was in, right? Trying to figure this out. And that's hilarious, but I'm blessed to be where I am today. So that's why I say, guys, I learned the hard way so you don't have to.
Right.
Like teaching our kids, like I can teach my kids, hey son, he's 3. Hey, if you touch that stove, it's
Oh,
gonna
that's
burn you.
cute.
Daddy
Yeah.
knows. Right. So daddy knows. Listen to daddy. You don't have to learn for yourself. I can teach you. That's the
They'll
beauty
say
of having a
no.
master class.
That age,
And
they're gonna say no. They're gonna say no, daddy.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
nope.
Learn from me, man, and this will help. And so this is so funny because in the beginning, here's what I'll do because you're talking about doing it manually until you get those things set up, and that's a great question. So when you have your phone and all those things set up, you're gonna go ahead. You can manually just record. All right, the A company, B company, C company, D company. These are all your ISPs.
Okay.
And then whenever an assignment comes in, so a customer reaches out, hey, I need to get a quote. 5 minutes, you book them. Hey, you got to pay a deposit. Just follow the script. Hey, the
Yeah.
deposit is paid. Dang, I got 150 in my account. That was pretty cool. I feel good about it. Now I got to get this work to somebody, right?
Mhm.
Hey, I've done my homework. I've done my research. I got 10 good companies. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, and you might not do 10 at one time. You might just do 5. You might
Okay.
just say, hey, here's the customer's info. So you're going to leave out the customer's contact info because
Okay.
you don't want the ISPs to call them or email them. They're already booked. You're just going to put in text. It's as simple as that. You're going to put in a group text. Hey, customer, this day, this time pays this.
Mhm.
You're going to put that in. And they're going to get it. Then you're going to put in a group text to the 5 or so you want to do.
Mhm.
Bam, send. The reason I say you can do 5 because they're probably going to take it right there. Somebody's going to take it,
Mhm.
and you don't need all of them getting disappointed because they can't get it because it only can go to one person. So do 3, 4, 5 at a time.
Okay.
Right? Very seldom do you have to go past the first 5. I promise.
Okay.
And so you're going to submit it in a text. Hey, group text to ISPs. Hey guys, job this day, this time pays this much. Who wants it? Basically. And
Mhm.
then as soon as they get it, they're going to be like, wait, job this day, this time. They're going to check their schedule. Hey, what's good? We can do it. All right, schedule's open. Take it.
Okay.
They're going to send back, hey, we accept that. That's manual. That's how I used to do. Hey, we're going to accept that. You're going to get it back. That company A said, we'll take that. Done. Thank you guys. As soon as the next one come in, I'll let you know. Done. Now
Now,
that company's going to go.
how long? Okay. So, because I'm putting everything in my mind, like, like actually the process. So
Yeah.
now they've gotten the job or whatever. Now, the client will actually put the money down, even if you haven't like guaranteed them, like it's gonna be 11 a.m. on this date. Like you're saying, like they
Yeah.
will, like
Yeah.
they do that,
That,
like they.
that, all right. So my company has been around since 2020. In 2020, when I first started, remember that was COVID. And
Yeah.
I didn't even start until April of that year. And I made 77 grand. I didn't do any of the moves. I didn't do any of the cleanings. I didn't do any of it. I stayed home, and my wife can tell you.
Yeah.
And I stayed home because my son was about to be born. My wife was home too. Now that I think of it, because
Oh,
she had
she
the
was
baby in
pregnant.
August. She had the
Oh.
baby in August, and it took in the neighborhood we live in, the daycare is really packed and high demand and very expensive. So we
Oh.
couldn't even get in to the daycare. So she ended up being out of work for like 6 months, which was fine. She got to hang out with the baby. And now she gets to hang out with the 1 year old and the 3 year old as much as she wants to now.
That's good. That's awesome.
But that was the goal the entire time.
Mhm.
And I'm like, hey, I'm too old to deal with these young kids. I
Yeah,
I look
I could
young, but I ain't
imagine.
that young.
Yeah, I'm
And
40, so,
my
so I'm
daughter,
yeah. Mm-mm.
come on, my daughter, she will be 25 this year.
Yeah, you
So
said that. Yeah,
and
that's
yeah, from a 25 all the way down to a one, that's a big jump. And
Yeah.
but I have great kids, beautiful, awesome, amazing, just like you. And
Mhm.
more than my success, I want their success. And I know I
Yes.
can't pass down a 9 to 5. My credit score ain't gonna help them when I'm long gone.
No, not at
And
all.
I don't want them working and stressing and on the second floor like you, everybody's smoking.
Mhm.
My kids stressed out, that I know they're not happy. I know they're not in a good position, and I don't want that. I'll do
No.
anything
Mhm.
to get them to freedom. And so, but to answer your question, so when the customers, like when the customers are going to pay you the deposit because it's in the script, you're not going to ask for the deposit. You're going to tell them a deposit is due. So we pay deposits anytime we make reservations, pretty much anywhere, in a lot of cases, except maybe restaurants. Even to
Okay.
get a hotel reservation, you got to pay the deposit.
Mhm.
So customers know to pay deposits. That's why I put it into the script.
Mhm.
So when you get to the end, you're not going to say, would you like to pay a deposit? No, you're going to say, hey, a reservation deposit is due. It's this amount. How would you like to pay it?
Okay.
Right. And they can do the card number, give you the info right there. Or they can say, hey, I'm at work. I don't have my card. How else can I pay it? No problem. I'm going to invoice it. What's your email address?
Now I have a question about that.
So yes,
I
they're going
I
to
have a
pay
quick
deposits.
Yeah, so I have a quick question about
Sure.
the payment thing. Like for like a lot of my business, like with my hair business, my notary business, I use Square, and with
Mm-hmm.
Square you can send invoices, but you can also like you can put in your card information, like like
Yes.
if I have a notary job and whatever, like there's
Yeah.
this thing that you can just like put in your purse and just like swipe their card or whatever.
Yes.
But this is over the phone. So sometimes like I will send like like if they're like in Florida or somewhere else or whatever. Like sometimes I have like lawyers contact me, like they have a client here and they need a notary thing done. So they're like, okay, how do I pay? And so I found out that with Square that you can use like a create a link, like a link, and they could just pay it like create a link and then send them that
Yeah.
link, and they could
Yeah.
just pay like put their card information and just pay like over the
Come
phone. Like
on.
there's different ways.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I know
Perfect.
there's different
Because
ways.
with I have Stripe. So with Stripe, we have an app that's pretty much a cash register. So
Yeah.
on the Stripe app, all I have to do, so if the customer wants to pay, my app is already open, whether it's on my laptop or my phone. I just
Okay.
click on it and then it pops up to the payment screen. And then while the customer's calling out the numbers, I'm putting them in. And then at
Yeah.
the end, I'll say, hey, let me read them back to you. So if you got a link, you can text or email the link while you're on the conversation,
Okay.
or you can double check to see if Stripe, see if Square has a payment app where you can just punch the numbers in. I'm sure they
Yeah,
do.
they do. I have that too.
Correct.
They do, but
And
I'm so used to using. But I'm gonna definitely like even the Stripe one that you mentioned. I'm gonna look into that too because
yeah,
you want your life to be easy. So all the information
yes,
that you can
yeah.
possibly get is
See,
in.
everything we need to be successful is already here.
Oh yes, yes,
It's
absolutely.
already here. They already provide that. You're going to
Yeah.
be doing manual upfront, learning your business fine. 6 months from now, guess what? You're going to be passing this business on to a VA and moving
Yes.
into another industry
Yeah. Yeah. I
and
just want
saying,
the
hey, I'm
foundation.
hands off.
Yes. I just want the
Yes.
foundation to
But
be kind of like, I want to put everything and know like every step, because, once you get everything down, like, okay, so if this happens, this is how I do this. If that happens, this is how so it's like, okay, so now you can advance, but if you don't have the steps
yeah,
like all in place, then, okay, so you secure the
and
deposit,
that's, yeah.
so secure the deposit, and then, soon, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm just trying to like see any other questions that I
Sure,
have.
sure. Yeah.
Um, Now, okay, so after you secure the client, and I hope I'm not keeping you. I hope I'm not keeping you or whatever. Like,
I have a few more minutes. I got uh another one coming up, but I have a few more minutes. Go ahead.
okay, okay, all right. So after you ensure the client is scheduled, is locked in. So they can be locked in but not scheduled yet, right? They could be
Meaning
locked in.
once they so all right, explain that to me because I'm not
Okay,
following you on that.
okay, okay. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so they can be like locked in terms of put their deposit in, and everything. But like you're saying, like you're reaching out to like all these independent like 5 or 10 or whatever that you have in your list. So like okay, you're asking about this and that and their TVs and like all the questions, right? And then you get to the point where you're like, okay, you know what? In order to reserve this spot for you, you have to, is a 150 reservation fee. I mean, or deposit fee, whatever the deposit
Yeah.
amount, like you said, or whatever.
Correct.
So you're having them put in their card information, or you're putting their card information for the deposit. But you're like, you know what? Let me check to see the schedule. Like I know it's on here to see who's available. But can I first look in deposit for that day? So you're looking in the deposit for that day, and
Yeah.
whatever time that they tell you, and then after that, because like obviously you don't have a calendar on your hand, so after that, like you get up, and I will send you a confirmation email once everything is set or whatever. But then
Yeah.
so after you get off the phone, you're going to like go in to see your ISPs, like, hey, who's around, because I want to keep this deposit. Is that like who's going to be available on
Yeah.
that day? Are y'all,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but isn't
I
that
got what you're
stressful
saying.
though?
Look,
Like,
I got exactly what you're saying because I went through this whenever I was first learning. These are all beginning like hurdles you'll have to get past. So
okay,
but it's not really hard. I learned the hard way because I didn't have the answer, but I'm going to give you the answer, so you don't have to learn the hard way. And so you're talking about when you book the deposit, but you're not sure. A couple things really quickly. You can have a calendar. You can just use whatever online apps provide a free calendar. You can do that, or you can go to Walmart and buy a desk calendar or wall calendar and just mark it down as you go. You can put a star for days that you have jobs, stars for for days that you have bookings, and then who does it. I used to go there and I would put a star and said, hey, I have a job at this day and this time here, and this is the company that accepted it. That's how I would monitor it in the beginning. Now when you start using something like Booking Koala, they'll monitor that for you, but they do cost money. So if you want to do it the way I did it manually up front, which is not a problem, it can only get easier after that. Then you can just buy a desk calendar or wall calendar and mark it down, or you can use one of the apps on your phone and just put the information in once you complete it. So let's say, go ahead, go ahead.
okay, yeah. As you're talking, I'm processing what you're saying. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
now you have an available spot on that calendar, but that's a spot that like you have available, that like you haven't put a client on. But how do you match it up with the spot that the actual
The
ISPs have
ISP is
available?
available.
Because it
Yeah,
might
yeah,
clash. So like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm
No,
just
no, no. These are great questions because whatever industry that we are in, this is going to come up because
yeah.
you're going to. Here's what can happen: you can't book the customer, or be on the phone or on the text with the customer, and then run over and check the calendar and check with everybody and see who's available. We know that's not going to be possible
Yeah.
until you get software like Booking Koala that does that, or I create some type of software in the future. So here's what you do for the manual part. You always, I call it ABC. You always book customer first. That's the number one thing. ABC, stick to your ABCs. Always book customer. You
Okay.
take $150 deposit. I'm gonna give you best case and worst case. You take $150 deposit. Let's start with the worst case. You book that. The customer's booked. They're happy. You got paid. Now you got to reach out to an ISP. All of your ISPs are busy for that day. Nobody can get to that customer. The worst thing that could happen is you simply contact that customer and say, I apologize. We are absolutely booked for that day. Here's what we have available, which works best for you. Customer's probably not going to be happy about that. But remember, you took 150 and you're going to say, hey, look, it was an oversight on our end. Here's what we want to do for you to make it up. We'll refund you $50, just our way of saying that we didn't meet your expectations, or that it occurred on our end, the issue, not your fault, on our end. We'll refund you $50, right? So we'll save you $50 right now. And what other day or time would work best for you? So, because when I reach out to the ISPs, I'm going to say, who's available? Let's say 10 respond back and say, none of us, nobody's available. And then I'm going to respond back and say, if you could do this job, when can you do it? When are you available? And now you're going to get them to reply back and say, hey, if she can move it to, she wants 9 a.m. If she can move it to 3, we can do it. If
Okay.
she can move it to tomorrow morning, we can do it. So when all the ass, and this is rarely ever going to happen. I could probably count on one hand the times this happened, but it is possible. And I'm glad you asked it because I'd rather you know and be prepared than to not know and be unprepared. And so If you find out you booked a job and all of your ISPs are busy, there's a couple things you can do. You can call the customer back and try to set up a date and time where the ISPs are available, because you're going to ask them, hey, all you guys are busy. Gotcha. When would you be able to do it? Hey, I could do it on this day at this time. See if she can change it. Right. They'll even text you back and say, hey, I would take it, but can she do 5 o'clock instead of 1? Right. And then you reach back out to the customer. Hey, I apologize. You don't have to offer the refund up front. You can just say, hey, I apologize. We're super booked for that day. We're going to have to move you back a little bit on the schedule. Does this time work for you? If the customer says yes, with no problems at all, go ahead and reschedule it to that day and time. If the customer's like, this is really inconvenient for me. Hey, listen, I understand it's not your fault. Here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and refund you $50 as our way of saying, we appreciate you having you as a customer, and we value your business. So we're gonna have to move you, but we're gonna make it light for you. We're gonna give you a refund. Also, you don't have to stay home all day. I know we changed the schedule. We're gonna go ahead. Not only are we gonna send you a $50 gift card, because you always want to refund them with a gift card as a gift. You can refund the money. Usually, a refund, it means something bad happened. The shoes didn't fit. The shirt didn't look good. So we don't want to say refunds. We want to reward them with a gift. So always a gift certificate or a gift card back, right? So gift sounds better than refund. But I'm just saying that so guys can know what I'm talking about. So go ahead and offer the gift back, $50 gift card. Bam, they have that. They've been rescheduled. They're not as mad because they got money back. They're feeling okay, right? Worst case, nobody can do it anytime soon. Customer has to do it that time, no other time. Hey, we apologize. We're going to go ahead. And that's when we got to do a refund. We'll just refund you back. That's the worst thing that could happen. Just give them their money back,
Okay,
right? You're not going to have that problem, I'm telling you, but you can give them that money back.
so to reassert what you said, we can actually, so when we're booking it, and getting the deposit and everything, it's whatever date that they say, because we really don't know for sure if like if they say like, okay, I want it March 30th at 11 a.m. and we're like, okay, sure, but to reserve that, we need the deposit or whatever,
Yeah, yeah,
reservation amount,
yeah,
and they put it in, and we're, and then we send in the confirmation and stuff, and then we're going scouting to see who is available. So we just lock it in anyway.
yeah. You have to,
So that's
because if you do it the opposite way and you call around, you're like, hey, let me call you back to see if we have that. Customer's gone.
they run away. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to talk to you again. You won't hear from them again. They're going to call somebody else and book. So your
Oh,
job is to ABC, always book customer, right? And so once you book the customer, that's why I always say have enough ISPs. Because if you have enough ISPs, somebody's going to take it. Somebody will
okay.
move their schedule. Somebody's got an extra crew who's not working.
Oh,
Some guy's going to say, hey, I don't even have a crew, but I got one other person that's off. We'll go do that one, right? We're going to get it. We're going to get the money, because business is all about revenue. And so very seldom are you going to have anybody who says that. But yes, number one, always book the customer, then reach out to see if the ISPs are available. Worst case scenario, they say no, which is very unlikely, but let's say
very
they
rare.
do. Then you reach back out and try to reschedule the customer. Also, in your script, you should let the customer know that times vary. In your email, you should let the customer know that the arrival time vary. We cannot give you a precise time. It's an estimated arrival time.
Mm.
And most times customers are okay with it. They understand. That's why we always say, hey, it's the busy season.
Mm-hmm.
So times are up and down, just letting you know. But we will contact you 30 minutes to an hour before arrival. That way, the customer doesn't have to stay home all day waiting.
Okay. Now, how soon? I mean, how much time do we have before they cannot get their money back? Like they cannot, like it is what it is. You can't, you
They
can't.
can't cancel on you. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long?
So
How much
that's a
time?
great question. And that's a policy question. So typically what we do is we give them, and we're fair, we give them 24 hours. As long as they don't respond back to cancel by 24 hours, it's an official booking.
After paying?
Correct. So
Oh, okay.
24 hours,
Oh,
because
okay.
we don't want them to call around, but we do want to be fair in case something happens. So, hey, I paid you for a booking, and then I found out we didn't get the house.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't qualify for the new apartment. We didn't get it.
The loan, whatever.
So now you want to be fair. We don't want their money. We want to give their money back. We want them
Yeah.
happy. We want to do the right thing. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
sorry you didn't get it. Listen, here we're going to send all the money back to your account. Just remember us in the future. And that customer might come back to you in the future, number one. And number two might be, you know what? This is an awesome company. Let me tell somebody
They
else, hey,
refer
I need a
friends.
mover. You
They
do?
refer
Yeah.
friends.
There's a company that'll work with you. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's always good for the reputation of the company, the branding. So give
Yeah.
them 24 hours just in case something happened, because after 24 hours, you're going to have to lock that in, right?
Okay.
And now you can always do case by case. If they call back, they got a real emergency, then always do the right thing. That's what I say. Because
Oh, absolutely.
the money's going to be there. You just do the right thing, and you're never going to have to worry about the money again. So, but these are all great questions about process, procedure, and what to do. I love it.
Yeah.
That's why I enjoy talking to you.
Yeah.
You're one of my favorite students.
Well, thank you. And then my final
Yeah,
question is,
yeah,
now you said like we're only giving vague information, like, like kind of like, the place, the area, maybe Homewood or
yeah.
this place or that place to the ISPs. Now, finally, when do we finally actually say, okay, you know what? Here is their number, here's their email, here's this, and go ahead and take it.
Yeah,
How, when? Because
another great
they're,
question.
they're in
Yeah,
limbo. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I mean, you give them something, but you didn't give them everything. So when?
Correct.
Like,
So the reason you're vague up front is because you're dispatching the customer's information to about 5 or 10 different companies.
okay.
You don't want all these companies with the customer's contact information,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're going to send them only the details, not the details and description, not the contact information, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to look at it because they don't need the contact information to say yes or no. They just
Okay.
need to know, hey, the job it's in South Side Chicago. It's at this day going from here to here at around about this time, paying this much. I can do it. And they take it. Then you go ahead and send that ISP the contact information as soon as they confirm. Now they have all the customer's information, right? So now you build that trust. Hey, when you guys, because when they look at it, they're like, hey, the information is not here. Well, as soon as you say yes, you'll have it. Oh, okay, there it is. Got everything. Okay, I like the way this partnership is working. We got everything booked. Customers confirmed. Says contact the customer 48 hours prior to arriving just to reconfirm that the time is good and they're still moving
Oh, okay. So about 48
or
hours. Okay.
cleaning or whatever.
48 hours.
Yes. And so once you get that information, you're good to go. And by the way, I can send you, because I'm recording this, I can send you a copy of this video
Oh, okay, please. Yeah.
so that you can use all of this back again. And so it's again, it's such a joy. It fills my heart to be able to see results and see people starting to build their business, taking off, finding their groove, what lane they want to operate in, and ultimately at the end of the day, getting security, getting their time back, being able to make money. Because I always say, man, the struggle life is the people that's working the hardest. They're stressed out. You've seen it. I've seen it. The
Yeah.
struggle life is the people
Yeah.
that's trading time for money, not realizing that you're running out of it.
And you know what?
And
The thing about that is that, okay, my younger brother is actually a doctor. Like he actually went to, like, got his residency and actually went to, but during family functions, he's like, oh, I gotta go. Like he's always running. So it's like he's getting
wow,
paid all this money, but he
yeah,
has no time still. So it's like,
mm-mm.
so it's like if you die tomorrow, like I mean, he's always running. Like, oh, I gotta
Yeah,
go. Oh, I gotta go. Oh, I gotta go.
yeah,
So it's like,
yeah.
even those that are highly paid, you're still a highly paid slave. Like
That's
it's,
come on now. That's a fact. That's
I'm
what you
telling
are
you,
because
it's like,
it doesn't matter what they pay you.
I'm
You
telling
don't
you,
control your life.
I'm telling you. So
No
it's like,
amount of money is
yeah,
worth it.
yes, it's like, I mean, they look at you like you're up, like you're, high, whatever, you're a doctor or
Yeah,
whatever and everything, but you're still a slave, and even
still.
even my daughter, like she talks to him, like, because they have a close relationship. My
Yeah.
oldest, like they always, and she's like, she's like, I kind of feel sorry for Uncle Ko. I really feel sorry because it's like it's always, he always tells me like the person that cuss him out and stuff. She's like, I
Oh
don't.
my gosh.
It's like,
And
it's
and
almost like,
think about
yeah,
how long they have to go to school, how
yeah,
much debt they have to incur, and then
heavy.
your teenage daughter,
Yes.
a teenage daughter is able to look out and say, "That's a tough way to live."
She's like, he calls
Think
me
of
like,
that.
yes. And then he uses her to vent. Like she's like, okay, oh, like
she's a therapist. Oh my God.
I'm telling you, because he's not married, he's almost 40 or whatever and everything. And
Yeah.
she
He's
uses
got
him
no
like
time to get married. There's no time.
and she's like,
He's married, but it's to his job.
and then she's like, Uncle Kent told me his girlfriend broke up with him. I'm like, he told you that? And she's like, yes. She's like, he vents on her. Like, I'm like, and she's, it's crazy. It's so sad. It's crazy.
Oh my
It's like,
God.
they're not
That's why I
happy.
say, look,
They're not
that's
happy.
why I
They're not
say
happy.
it. Side piece. And you've got to date it and then move on. And we
I'm
all have to
telling
have that
you.
mindset. Hey, we're
I'm
here
telling you.
temporarily. We're not selling our whole lives to you. And we're gonna do what it takes. But think about that. In most people's eyes, being a doctor or something or a nurse like you were is the highest level of success. Oh my gosh, you made it. And then you talk to someone, it's like, please don't. I'm from
It's
the
not.
inside,
Yeah,
you're from the outside.
exactly.
It ain't that.
Exactly. It's not.
It ain't that. So that's amazing. So look, I'm gonna get this video to you as soon as I can. If I can, my assistant's gonna do it. And because it's so powerful. And if you don't mind, I'd love to share it with some other people if
Please.
you're okay with that.
I've told you before. Go ahead and share it. But I have
Yeah.
one last question. Like,
Yeah.
what if they have a flat rate? What if the companies have a flat rate that like they have? Because I've talked to a couple of them now, like even the ones that were on the phone for like a little bit longer, and they were like, yeah, like you're moving to a storage unit or whatever, and like they took the inventory, this, that, the TVs. You have this. I just made things up. Do you have a chest? No. Do you
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
this? Like
Yeah.
I made all kinds of things up. Then like, what about the refrigerator? I'm like, well, we have one that's sitting on a table. It's not,
Yeah.
I was like
Yeah.
envisioning
Just
stuff,
to
and
get a quote. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I kind of like got a feel and everything, and then
Yeah.
he went in, like talking about like he went into all kind of. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
do I have that like that like thing on people to make him just start
Yeah.
talking all kind of random stuff? Because he
Yeah.
started about his
Yeah.
family that they were saying that he was stealing people. I'm like, where did this come from? Like,
Yeah. Look. Oh my gosh. Look, these people. It's something in your spirit that makes them just open up. I don't know what it is.
I'm telling you, I'm like, what is this? Like, like, but because I'm seeing it like calling people like random like
Yeah.
on Google. I'm seeing that people need
Yeah.
somebody to vent to. People are like,
That might be a new business, like entrepreneur vent hotline. Like, just call it vent.
no, I'm telling you because I'm calling him like for moving, and he's like, I could give you some background myself. I'm like, go
Yeah.
ahead. He's talking about like, I'm telling you, I'm seeing that
Oh
more. I'm
my
telling you because
God.
I didn't know that
Yeah.
before. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it's crazy, but
They need customers and you're going to get them customers. So, but that's a great question.
yeah,
In your industry, same as my industry, we want to stay away from flat rates.
yes,
So there's a couple things you could do because number one, if you quote a flat rate and you book it, and then that mover or that cleaner goes out there and they find out it's a lot of stuff and it's a whole lot more and it's worth more, then you're going to have a problem. You're going to have friction in the house between the ISP and the customer and yourself. And you
okay,
don't want that. So you want to make sure that whatever the job is worth, the ISP gets it. You want to satisfy the ISP more than you
yes,
want to satisfy the customer because the
oh,
ISP is your partner.
oh, okay,
That if you have an ISP that's ticked off, they're not going to want to work with you. So it doesn't
anymore.
matter how many jobs you book, who you're going to send it to,
Nobody.
right?
Oh,
You don't want that. So you always want to protect. They're your partners, they're your friends, they're your employees.
mm,
You always want to be on their sides and always let them know. So you got to protect them. That's a great question and a great point. You always have to protect the ISP. So
okay,
if you flat rate and they go out there and they feel like they're getting taken advantage of, I've had it happen. It is not
mm-hmm.
pretty, right? I've had
Mm-hmm.
situations where the customers lie because customers will lie. They
Yes,
won't tell you everything, or
yes,
they'll act like it's less.
mm-hmm.
And then you go out there and you're like, wait a minute, this person got a 60-gallon aquarium. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you about that. No, you
Where's
didn't. It's
snowman
in your
proof?
living room.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to do that. So the way we handle that is with paperwork. So we're going to, first of all, we're not going to book flat rate because we don't want to get anybody in a bad situation. It's going to be hourly. if the ISP says I only do flat rates, and they'll work with you. But if you got one that's like, nope, that's the only way I'm working, don't do business with them. It's
Okay.
just going to end in a disaster.
Disaster.
Now, if
Okay.
they say they're flat rated, then say, hey, listen, if you were to do hourly, what would be a good rate for you? And
Okay.
now you're getting them to open up about hourly and say, hey, you know
Okay.
what? I'll book some jobs for you, and we can work together for about the next 30 days, and then we'll see how this partnership goes. And if it's a good partnership, we'll continue. How about that? Sure, I agree. Send me some work. And that's how you can start. Give them like a probationary period. That's why I tell you guys, don't list on public platforms, just in case you hire the wrong ISPs and then you get bad reviews. You don't want that. So filter through them for the first 30, 60, 90 days. And then we
Okay.
start getting good ones. You're like, hey, I know these guys are going to take care of business.
Mm-hmm.
Then list on public platforms, because your phone's going to start blowing up when you get those good reviews. But learn
Oh,
your business first. That's why I always tell people, take your time, learn your business. Money's going to be there. What's more important is you know what you're doing and how to do it. So
okay.
no flat rates. Try to avoid that, because customers lie, and ISPs, you don't want to have them in a bad position.
Okay.
They're your customers, not the customer.
Mm.
The ISP is your customer, because you can't get
Oh.
paid without them. Because
Mm.
if a customer pays you $150, $250, and the ISP won't do the job, you got to
Then
give
you
that
have to
money back.
refund it. Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
refund it. Mm.
So the ISP is where you win, the service
Mm.
professional. So you want to make sure you got them. So again,
Mm.
no flat rates, because customers lie, and no
Okay.
flat rates because you don't want the ISPs out there being overworked and not fairly compensated.
Okay. So if they tell
You
me flat
always
rates,
want them.
I'll just keep on skipping. Like I'll just be like, okay,
Yeah.
well,
Well,
how
ask
much
them
will you
if they're
charge?
open to hourly.
Okay. Okay.
Just tell them, hey, look, we're booking clients right now, but we're only doing hourly. Is that something you'd be interested in?
And you know what? Sometimes they take it in like they change because remember the cleaning guy? He was like, "Well, if we were to do hourly," and he started changing his mind. You know, because
Yeah.
maybe they just
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe they, they're not
Yeah.
informed or they don't know it could be better
Yeah.
or whatever. Or
I would keep that guy's info, because something about you makes these entrepreneurs feel comfortable opening up to you.
very comfortable,
And
very
And
comfortable.
so if I'm you, that's potentially my first ISP for cleaning when I get into that. So
Okay.
maybe 3, 6 months from now, you're like, hey, I'm nailing it in the moving industry. Now we're going to move into another industry because I know the blueprint. And potentially that could be somebody you work with, even negotiate with, and make
He
more
he
money.
he saved my number. He actually saved my number.
Yeah.
So I think he's
Yeah.
and I saved his. So yeah. So that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Ask him one day, like, hey, look, would it be okay if I send you a few customers in the
Oh,
future, right? And he's going to be like, you bet. And
okay.
then now you got a partner. See, I told
Okay.
you, once you learn this blueprint, you'll always be able to make money. You could
You know
literally
what?
be walking down the
Yes.
street, huh?
Yes, because I'm seeing that like I'm getting more comfortable like just calling like random people and
Yeah,
I think it's all about talking to, I think this whole business is all about talking to people, being open just
that's
to talk
it.
to anybody,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and just getting the
yeah,
flow and once they get
yeah,
comfortable with you, they'll do
yeah.
whatever you say. I
Come
think that
on now. If they trust you, they'll work with you. They'll partner
yes,
with you. And you can
yes,
text them. You can text them, hey, I do this. Would you be open to this? You can email it to them, because a lot of them don't answer their phones because they're overworked.
yes.
But you could call them, you could text them, you could email them, and build that partnership.
Mhm.
And even when you get ready to launch, you might have a recording or something where you say, hey, would it be okay if I send you a link to a video? And your
Mm.
video might be recorded on YouTube or on Facebook. And it's a
Yeah.
3-minute video saying, hey, I have a cleaning service, moving service, pressure washing website service, and we're operating in your area, and we want to partner with businesses like you. And what we want to do is we want to book customers for you, and then send the customer to you. You don't have to talk to the customer, you don't have to communicate. All you have to do is show up and do the work. If you're interested in partnering with us, email us at this number. And
Mm.
then you get businesses that's like, heck yeah, I need customers. And now they're texting and emailing you saying, hey, now the ISP is reaching out to you. That's a way you can do it, by creating a quick commercial and putting it on one of your platforms. And then you just start emailing it to ISPs.
Oh,
And
okay.
then they'll click the link. What is this? Oh, there's this business in town that wants to send us leads.
Mm.
Uh, Wait, we got to pay for it? No, no, no. The leads are 100% guaranteed. They're already locked in. Wait, yeah, just show up. The jobs are there, right? So in
Mm.
essence, you're brokering
Yes.
this, and that's where you want to be. So these companies, Uber, Instacart, they all do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just going to use that model and make ourselves free. And that's what we want to do.
Awesome.
All right. Look, I appreciate this. I'm going to get a copy out to you as soon as I can.
Okay.
Like I said, if I don't, my assistant will, but we're going to be working on this. And this is going to be an exciting video for everybody who gets to watch this. It's going to bless
Yes.
them
Yes, absolutely.
because it's so important that we
Mm-hmm.
learn to make money. So important that we get away from this 9 to 5 mentality. That's
Mm-hmm.
where all the stress is. It's
Yes,
in the 9 to 5. It's
it
it's
is.
in what people call good careers.
No
No, give
matter
that
what
to
you're being
somebody
paid,
else.
no matter what you're being paid,
Yeah,
at that point,
yeah,
I know it doesn't matter. Before, I didn't know that it didn't matter. I thought maybe
yeah,
if you're a doctor or you're a higher level, it's
yeah,
better. I
yeah.
see, even in my
You brought
family,
up
I
a
see
good
it's not
point.
better. Huh?
You brought up a good point of with your brother who's making good money, but he doesn't own his time. And you said this. You said, and God forbid, but if anything happens to you, brother, what did you do? What did you leave behind? What did you
Nothing.
accomplish?
Nothing.
They bought 40 years from you almost. They
Mm-hmm.
bought all your time. You still don't control it. You're gonna miss the opportunity to be young, raising kids.
I think it's frozen.
Blesses everybody. Did I lose you for a second?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
froze for like a few seconds. So I was
Yeah,
like, wait a minute,
yeah,
okay.
but I was like that. Just hearing that story about your brother,
Yeah.
and knowing that, hey, brother, like, they're buying all your time. You're missing family. You're missing
Mhm.
life, and no amount of money is worth that.
Yeah, and he's lost so much hair, like from like the residency stress and everything. My brother used to have like a full, like,
Yeah,
like load of curly, like really nice hair. The,
yeah.
the residencies, like he would tell me like during his residency, like he would stay in his room talking to himself. Like he was so stressed out, like he
Oh
was
my
losing his
gosh.
mind. So he's
Yeah,
he's lost so much hair, like it's taking so much out of him. Like I guess he's making the money now, whatever and everything. But even still, like he's not
yeah,
staying. Like it's not what they put it out to be. Just let me just put it
yeah,
out there like that. It's
yeah,
not.
yeah.
It's not all
And
that
he
is.
can he can tell you, and you guys can see it.
Yeah.
And so, but I'll get a copy out to you. I'm going to let you go enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend.
Okay.
We'll be linking up again soon. I'll send you
Okay.
some information and then we'll set up another schedule.
Okay.
And, but like I always tell people, hey, I'm with you to the end. I want to see you be successful. I believe in this and I believe in you. And I believe if we work together, we can build something really nice and help some people. My goal is
Absolutely.
to do 50,000 trainings, to get 50,000 students and change people's lives. I think that'll have a
Amen.
profound
Amen.
impact. And that's what
Yes.
I want to do. So, look,
Awesome.
enjoy your day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have an
You
awesome,
too.
awesome weekend. And thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
And get that homework done and we'll talk soon. Okay.
Yeah, I will. I will.
All right.
Thank
You
you.
got it. Bye bye.
Bye.